TV is a good day for me.
Right.
So, yes, his driver's missing to the right. He can't hit the fairway, in which in turn, when you're playing at Riviera, which Doug knows a lot about, it's going to be hard to hit the green. So he was awful as far as hitting the greens. His short game, his putting, his chipping is spectacular. He just needs to be able to get control of the big sticks, get the ball in play. Now, you and I talked about earlier, he might struggle till he gets to Augusta,
right,
which those big old wide open fairways, everybody can hit those fairways. So then his chance of hitting the green, and then his short game chipping, gamesmanship comes in there. But any day that Tiger Woods is on TV, man, I'm on that TV or I'm on Tiger Tracker tracking every shot. So it's a good day for me. And for him to shoot one over par at Riviera, a place he's not had a lot of success,
yeah,
it's a good day for him.
I would agree. I mean, like, look, the questions for Tiger. First question is, can he stay healthy to make it through a tournament? He answered that at Torrey Pines. We've always seen him be a great grinder. And in golf, you know, grinding, granted, it's different kind of grinding than real life grinding. But for a guy, when you can't hit a fairway and you still manage to get par, that's classic Tiger Woods. And it's because the thing he used to have was, like 6 foot in, he never missed, ever missed. And that's why he's a great leader in majors, because he would make somebody have to score in order to beat him, and nobody could score to try and beat him. So the good news is he appears to be healthy. The good news is that the short game yips, which he had before he hurt his back, seem to be gone, and he's back to 6 foot in, making absolutely everything. The driver has to come. That's the only thing that'll prevent him from being back to being elite.
To getting in the winner's circle.
But this is a guy who carries the sport. I mean, look, CBS has got this thing Saturday and Sunday. They're praying that he's there Saturday and Sunday. 100%. He carries the sport, and I'm with you. I think if he's even close with his driver, he's going to be playing for a chance to win on Sunday at Augusta, which is all this sport needs to get it reinvigorated.
No doubt. Tiger Woods on the course just takes the energy to another level, no doubt. Back now to hoops. Now, the new look Cavs may have made LeBron James very happy, but it might cost Dan Gilbert a whole lot of cash. If LeBron picks up his $35 million option next season and the team keeps all the new guys, the Cavs' payroll could be over $300 million.
Say that again, how much?
$300 million, Doug. That includes the luxury tax. Chris Carter, do you think that is just too astronomical of a number, and that this might be the last season for LeBron in Cleveland?
This is one thing that Dan Gilbert, that you have to give him credit for. There's not a lot of credit being dished out to him. That when he decided to go after LeBron James when he was in Miami, he knew that his pockets would be full too, but he knew that he would have to be committed to paying the luxury tax as long as LeBron James is on that team. If LeBron James is on your team, Miami had the same situation. Mickey Erickson, you got to be committed to be able to pay that luxury tax. I think that the younger players and the salary commitment that they have for them, I think it makes it more advantageous for LeBron to be able to stay there in Cleveland. But they got to win. Yeah. Like, they have to win. Getting younger does help his position. But in the playoffs, it's about championships for LeBron. And I believe also right now, he does not know, but I know one thing. He don't care about that luxury tax. He don't care about Dan Gilbert and what he's got to pay to put a winner out there.
No, he doesn't. I agree with you on Dan Gilbert. And we also know that really smart men have really smart accountants. And I'm sure that even though you're going to pay essentially $158 million to nobody, to the rest of the league, that's what the luxury tax is. $158 million that doesn't go to any of the players because of the luxury tax, because they're so far over the luxury tax and is a repeat offender. We also know there's some accounting that can be done to where, hey, man, I lost a ton of money last year, and it ends up helping him in taxes. That said, that's still a huge sum of money. And this is an era of fiscal responsibility. Hell, even the Yankees are trying to be, with the exception of Giancarlo Stanton's new contract, fiscally responsible. Look at baseball. They're trying to completely change the salary structure. And the NBA is going to do the same thing in the offseason.
Hasn't Golden State gone on record as saying, their owner and general manager saying that they're not committed to paying over the luxury tax going into the future?
And that's what we're talking about with Klay Thompson, right? That at some point you have to. So, look, these contracts that they acquired, like, man, how could they get George Hill? Because he's owed $19 million next year.
Clarkson.
How could they have Jordan Clarkson? Because he's got like 3 years left on a bad deal that nobody else wants. So this is a fiscally irresponsible deal that tells LeBron, hey, we want you to stay. But here's where it could backfire. When you're that far over the cap, you're completely handcuffed into adding anybody else.
Right.
So what Chris is saying is right. It has to work, because if it doesn't, LeBron can't say, well, let's go get some more players
Right.
next year. Like, hey,
These are
dude,
the players they add.
this is what you got.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is where it is the ultimate gamble. It is the ultimate, hey, we'll pay the freight later. We'll pay the balloon payment later with the hope that you win. If you win, he probably stays. If you don't, I think the Lakers' argument is, hey, look, we have the young players that you love playing with in Cleveland, that style. It'll re-energize you. The only difference is our salaries are in line. We're not in cap hell. We can still go out and make
Our
deals.
young guys are on their first contract.
Right.
But didn't they almost have to do this? I understand, Doug, what you're saying. It's an incredibly high risk, fiscally irresponsible, but clearly it feels worth it to them in this moment. Because had they not done this, y'all, and gone out and got these kind of fiscally irresponsible contracts, there was no chance, I believe, that LeBron stayed at all.
Well, last time LeBron walked out the door, Forbes magazine, I think the evaluation of the team went down to $150 million the day that he left. So
Goodbye.
how much is 2 championships worth?
Yeah, well,
That's the
here's the problem with that, with using the value of a franchise with LeBron, without LeBron. It's really hard to sell a franchise, right? Dan Gilbert should just sell the franchise. Well, first, what if I don't want to sell the franchise?
Right.
Secondly, and I know you can borrow on the value of the franchise for all your other businesses, and we understand how accounting works. But the other thing is, like, I'm not going to buy the Cleveland Cavaliers if I don't know that I have LeBron James, because the value of the franchise plummets when you don't have LeBron James. So it looks great on a spreadsheet how much the team is worth with him as opposed to without him. The reality of it is it's really hard to find somebody who will buy it. But look, you asked the question, did you have to? You did have to do something. That team was dead in the water, and LeBron had no energy and was clearly not putting his best effort forward. That's the only explanation for having the worst plus-minus in the league. But what they did by taking on these contracts, they could have taken on dead money. They could have taken on, Luol Deng's contract or other contracts for guys that aren't going to play, where you can, what's called, buy them out and smooth them, pay them over a couple of years. They chose not to do that. They chose to take live bodies that are going to play, but are going to play under bad contracts. They did that knowingly, thinking this is a gamble, and it's a risk worth taking, because once you have LeBron James, you have no chance of winning a championship. But there is a balloon payment coming next year if LeBron James chooses to stay.
Absolutely. I mean, they literally put all the chips in on the table. So hopefully for the Cavs, this pays off. Otherwise, LeBron will definitely be moving on. Coming up, what is the one team Kirk Cousins should be focusing on for next season? That's next on First Things First.
CC knows.
Oh, yeah, he's got the crystal ball.
No, he knew.
I know
where
he knew where LeBron was
going.
going.
Living at the speed of light, like a bullet. I could be there by the morning.
It's the Bud Night.
It's the Bud Night. We're saved. Yes. Dilly-dilly!
Time to do what must be done. I did it.
Here's to the friends you can always count on.
Trust is a big part of this job.
We need professional tools to do a professional job.
Wall keeps us looking professional.
The Wall Elite Pro, the elite clipper for fast, effective haircutting, from the brand used by professionals.
There's no flavor in the world like Popeye's sweet heat butterfly shrimp.
They start out a little sweet, and then comes a little heat. You can grab 8 shrimp plus a side and a biscuit for just $5, or mix in some tenders with my surf and turf.
Best Western rewards you in a flash. With points that never expire, earn a free night fast at over 4,200 hotels worldwide. Book now at bestwestern.com and get a $10 gift card with every stay.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
While other insurance companies just see a car, we see something you've worked really hard for. So why not give it the protection it deserves?
Vibranium secured.
Well done, my king.
Is my ride ready?
Of course, big brother. But you have to hurry.
Experience luxury performance that takes the crown. Presenting the all-new Lexus LS 500. Long live the king.
You eat well and take the highest dose statin you can to lower your LDL bad cholesterol, but still aren't getting where you need to be. It can be a real struggle. Now there's a different way to reduce LDL and get on the path to dramatically lower numbers with Repatha. Repatha works differently from your statin to help clear LDL. When taken every 2 weeks, Repatha plus the highest dose statin drove down LDL on average 71% more than a statin alone and 63% when taken once a month.
Do not take Repatha if you are allergic to it. Repatha may cause serious allergic reactions. Signs include redness, severe rash or itching, swollen face, or trouble breathing. Most common side effects include runny nose, sore throat, common cold symptoms, flu or flu-like symptoms, back pain, high blood sugar, and redness, pain, or bruising at the injection site.
Added to a highest dose statin, Repatha lowered LDL below 70 for up to 90% of people. Ask if Repatha can get you on the path to way lower LDL.
Repatha is now FDA approved to reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke. Visit Repatha.com.
When it comes to showing love, some use rose petals. At Papa John's, we use pepperonis. A lot of pepperonis. We're using 2 whole layers of them on our large or pan dual-layer pepperoni pizza. Available now for just $10. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Welcome back to First Things First. We're joined now by former NFL head coach Eric Mangini. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Good morning.
Coach is trying to get in on his birthday party. One of the staff members is done. Coach is trying to get in on it.
Yeah, I better get that invite.
He looks like he means business with that.
Seriously.
Make sure he gets the invite.
We got empanadas coming. I'm not sure. You in on a morning empanada?
Don't I look like I'd be in there?
You look
said I
great,
did not.
Coach. Okay.
It would not be a
You look like you'd be in on a kale salad.
Not be my earliest empanada.
That is too much fun. All right, so Kirk Cousins, he's single and ready to mingle, right? He's being recruited by superstar players via social media.
Ebony is serious about that single thing.
Oh my gosh, Von Miller. Well, he started the trend.
If you want someone single, call.
Now the Browns, I'll get you during the break, Chris Carter. Now the Browns, all-pro left tackle, Joe Thomas, he's getting in on the fun. Cousins tweeted out this. It was a picture with the caption, quote, "Cooper and I are interested in hearing where the best spot is for us. We have no idea yet. Hashtag waiting. Come get him." Thomas then responded, "I hear Cleveland is nice this time of year. That is, if you like to have a statue one day." Coach, where do you think the best fit would be for Kirk Cousins?
I like Cleveland for Kirk Cousins, and here's why. If he wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and he truly believes in his heart of heart that he's a franchise quarterback, there's no better place to go than to Cleveland and to change what's happened there. And they're in a situation from a cap space perspective where they can pay him what he's looking for. They can be in that range. They've got some good young receivers, Josh Gordon. If that continues to work out, he's got a really dynamic receiver. And then you've got those 2 high draft picks that you can dramatically change, impact players on offense if that's what you want to do. Plus, they committed to the offensive line last year. There's a lot of good things that he could do there.
Now, Coach, you're one of the people you're one of our regular guests on the show, but you have been kind of a proponent of the Cleveland job for a quarterback. You always talk about force multiplier. You're saying, listen, if you're that guy, if you're commanding that type of salary, go to Cleveland. There is a lot of things in Cleveland. Now, you have your own personal experience there in Cleveland, but you believe that the right guy can get it turned around there.
100%. To me, being a great head coach, part of that is having a great quarterback. It helps you along the line, and we've seen it time and time again. Bill Belichick was in Cleveland. He had 1 winning season in 5 years. He goes to New England. He's got a good quarterback. That whole narrative changes. So my suggestion or my feeling on this is, Kirk, if this is who you believe you are and you want to be compensated like that, you can go and totally change the trajectory of a franchise, which to me is what you'd want as an athlete.
That reminds me of basketball, of all these coaches who want to be the guy to turn around the Knicks, right? How many guys are going to be the guy and have the statue and get them back to where they were in the 60s, and so many people have failed. I get it. You got Hugh Jackson, and if they sign Kirk Cousins, it would allow them to spend those other 2 first-round picks on more young personnel to put around him. All that makes sense. But if it's me, I go west Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald's coming back. David Johnson didn't play basically last year because of a wrist thing. So you have one of the elite running backs who can run it and can catch it out of the backfield. You're playing indoors. And if there's one thing that's maybe a flaw in keeping Kirk Cousins in the discussion of the elite quarterbacks, arm strength, but arm strength not an issue when you play indoors. If it's me, I go there. Plus, you have a new regime there, and so you know who your head coach is going to be for the next couple of years. If you go to Denver, Vance Joseph nearly got fired this year. If you go to Cleveland, they nearly got blown out this year as well. So if things don't go well in your first year, you're still going to be stable with head coach. I like the Arizona job because of the surrounding pieces and because you're playing indoors. And you're going to get paid.
If Kirk goes there and plays well, that head coach is going to be there for a long time. If Kirk goes anywhere and plays poorly with that type of salary, whoever the head coach is, he's leaving pretty soon.
I appreciate what you're saying, Doug, about the ability to probably win more consistently and faster in Arizona. But I really like where the coach is going with this, because to me, I see Cleveland as akin to like a startup. Right? So it's almost a blank slate of sorts. It's got some good parts for sure, but it totally needs that one key component. And if Kirk Cousins really believes he's that dude, if you think you're that good, if you think that you're that transformational of a quarterback, he has the wide open opportunity to be a real game changer.
Right.
There.
And also you have to go to the economics. Which team can afford him if he wants to be the highest paid quarterback, which I believe might be fairly important to him. He's been franchised at the 22, 23 million the last 2 years. So we know what the asking price is going to be, at least 25 million. Cleveland might be one of the few places that he can get that. But before I go to Cleveland, I need to holler at Joe Thomas. Joe, you told the people you don't know if you're coming back next year. Or how long you going to be protecting me? How am I going to get a statue if you're not playing? Now, you're going to be there another 3 years, Joe? Like, if you can guarantee me that, the probability of me coming to Cleveland are going to be a lot better. Joe Thomas is probably one of the most underrated, great players that we have ever seen play this game. And he spent his whole career playing in Cleveland. To me, I need to get some type of insurance, if I am Kirk Cousins, outside of that money, that Joe Thomas is going to be protecting me and protecting my backside like Kirk Cousins is protecting his little boy right there. And I'm not going to Cleveland without that. I don't care if they say they're going to use the top pick on a left tackle. I need Joe Thomas.
You need some assurance.
So where would you go?
If I'm going to Minnesota.
Shocking.
Is that biased, Chris Carter?
It's not biased because they have cap space. They have a defense. They play indoors. They got two better receivers that mentally and physically more stable.
And they got Dalvin Cook coming back off injury.
I mean, so you talk about Arizona. Minnesota is Arizona plus. That ability to be able to play inside. Now, the only thing that I'll disagree with you on your Kirk Cousins, Kirk's anticipation is so good. And when you don't have great arm strength, you got Joe Montana. The reason why he was so good, anticipation. You need to put him in the West Coast offense, and I believe that you won't see that. In Washington, man, Kirk Cousins throws the ball all over the field because of anticipation and his football IQ. He's the first guy in the building, last guy to leave, and I just believe that Minnesota with that defense, because even if you're off, you're in the game. You don't have to go out there and try to win it week after week. And listen, I like Cleveland. I like the potential. But you know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about the beast in Baltimore that's won a couple Super Bowls, and I'm worried about the team that won 6 Super Bowls in Pittsburgh. So you're going against them in your division. So the ability to have success there is a lot harder.
Look, going to Minnesota is a great situation because of that defense. To me, there are a lot of fantastic pieces in Minnesota. You got continuity with the coaching staff in terms of the head coach, and there's discipline, and they've been able to win through adversity. To me, that shows great things from an organizational perspective. I agree with all the things you're saying. I just would like to see him try to be that transformational player. You know, you add Jimmy Garoppolo to San Francisco, and suddenly they win a bunch of games. I mean, it's amazing.
That's a startup. Startup
insert a quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't think Cleveland is a startup. Cleveland is one of the kind of classic franchises that used to be and that has constantly
had. You calling them Kmart?
Well, Kmart, the JCPenney's, the Sears is, where the rest of the world has kind of evolved, and they need a new CEO to come in and advance it to the 21st century. Yeah. Here's my question. I understand that what he wants to show and how he's going to be paid. How good is he actually?
Well, that's the answer, or that's the question. Yeah. If he is as good as he feels that he is.
No, that wasn't my question. And you think he threw 4,900 yards 2 years ago, right? Or 4,000 last year.
When we were talking about A.J. McCarron, we broke the quarterbacks down into 3 different categories. We had A.J. McCarron. If he was a starter, he would be in the bottom half. Yeah. Kirk Cousins would be smack right there in the middle. Right. And some days, Kirk Cousins is elite. But when he drifts back down, he's in the middle of the NFL and going to have you in plenty enough good position to win a lot of games because you don't have to babysit and try to hide the quarterback.
And when I looked at Kirk Cousins for a while when he first started, I thought, can he win in the fourth quarter? Can he bring a team back? And I didn't know whether he could, and I got the sense that that was a problem. But then when you actually go look at his body of work and you spend time reviewing it, he's got a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks. He's got a bunch of successful 2-minute drives. To me, he's shown that he's been able to perform in the clutch based off of what he's done so far.
Why did Washington never buy into him? Like that's always my remember when Matt Flynn was with the Green Bay Packers, right? And Matt Flynn became a free agent, and Joe Philbin goes down to Miami. And Joe Philbin did not bring Matt Flynn, his backup, to be his starter in Miami. To me, that was all the alarms I needed. Because if you work with a guy every day, you know if he's got it. And if you're not going to bring him, you say, why did Jay Gruden not lay down on, stand up on one of these tables and say we need to sign these guys? Why did it not work out in Washington?
They gave him $45 million in the last 2 years.
I understand, but there's some sort of disconnect between the franchise and Kirk Cousins, to which there was never truly buy-in to Kirk Cousins being good enough to be their quarterback. Right? They went and got Alex Smith, who's just above average, gets you to the playoffs, and we know who Alex Smith is.
Alex Smith is not a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, and they got Alex Smith at a number that is suitable to them going forward.
Okay, so
they were not comfortable giving Kirk Cousins $100 million.
But why did San Diego move on from Drew Brees? Why did Tampa Bay move on from Steve Young? Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes you think that you're going to get better. And look, it happens throughout the world. It happens in the working environment. It happens with relationships. Sometimes you think it's going to be a little bit better, and then you realize, oh my God, I had the one.
Yeah, but the grass is not always
that guy with the wart on his head, might as well bring him home.
You know what, Coach? Despite that comment, please stick around.
He's buying diamonds at Red Bottom.
Next up, the Giants. Can they get one more playoff run out of Eli Manning? We'll see. We'll take it up with the coach.
Man, you
next
don't
on
throw
First
away
Things
a
First.
Rolls Royce because it's got a dent. I tell him that. You drive that thing.
Yeah.